Oh, okay. So the host, can you assign Dr. Sam so she can share screen? Okay. Please try again, Dr. Sam. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, is it okay? Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
All right.
Okay, can close it first, Dr. Sam, can you please?
Should I start?
No, no, wait. We will opening first.
Okay, all right. Okay. Let me mute myself.
Yeah. Can you close the share screen first? Okay. Thank you. Okay, we will wait until 5 more minutes for another participant, Dr. Sam.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, can we start? For others students, please open your camera so we can have a picture. Take a picture after this. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Dr. Seizam Samsudin. Innalhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururina anfusina wa min sayyiatina a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudhillalah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'du. So in this afternoon, it is our pleasure to be taught by Associate Professor Dr. Samzaifa Samsudin. She is a lecturer from School of Economics, Finance and Banking, University of Utara, Malaysia. And our subject today is economics and public policy. And the topics for today is source and utilizations of government revenue, the case of Malaysia. Actually, Dr. Dr. Samzaifa, sorry, Dr. Samzaifa, our students already learn about the government budget or state budget in the beginning of this semester. They learn about the state budget of Indonesia. Then I hope you can share about the Malaysia, so they can have more experience and more explanation from how Malaysia manage their budget. So they have comparison from Indonesia and Malaysia. And then before we start, I would like to introduce Dr. Samzaifa. Dr. Samzaifa Samsudin is Associate Professor in the School of Economics, Finance and Banking, University Utara, Malaysia. She completed her Master of Science in Public Economics from the University of York, United Kingdom in 2002, and later earned PhD in Economics from the University of East Anglia, United Kingdom in 2010. And her research primarily revolves around the field of health, labor, and public economics. And she has published numerous papers on various topics, including healthcare utilizations and demand, mental health and productivity, distribution of livelihood assets among the hardcore poor, women, and elderly health, and also hospital efficiency. Additionally, she has received multiple grants from national and international sources to fund her research. You also focus on healthcare utilizations, Dr. Sam.
Yes,
I think
yes.
we also
yes.
can collaborate because I have another class about the insurance market.
Okay, good.
Insurance of healthcare, something like pasar asuransi kesehatan.
Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe next.
next time.
Okay,
In the next lecture. Yes.
Okay.
Inshallah.
So today, Dr. Sam will discuss about how Malaysia make the state revenue. Okay, before we start, I think students, can you open the camera so we can have picture together with Dr. Sams? Please. Admin, can you take a picture for us? Hello. Please open the camera. Okay, another student, please. Okay, any other student want to open the camera? You can have picture 1, 2. One, two, three. Then the next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Dr. Sam, you can start the share screen.
Let me share screen. Okay, is it okay? Can you see it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's good.
Okay. Okay, first of all, thank you, Dr. Cecilo, for the nice introduction from you. And then thank you for the Universitas of Muhammadiyah for having this guest lecture series. I think this is a very good platform for us to exchange our knowledge and also to share experience from between countries. Yeah. So this is the topic of my lecture today. It would be sources and utilization of government revenue, the case of Malaysia. It is good to know that you already learned on Indonesian budget, so that this is not so alien to you, the concept of public economics. I think you already know by now the definition of public economics while you study public economics. Is it correct, Dr. Susilo? They already have some background already on that one?
Yeah. They have already big background about it, but I don't know they still remember or not.
It's okay. We go through the basic introduction as usual before we go to the Malaysian case. And in case you have any questions on what I'm presenting, you may ask me. Okay. Let me just move the things. Okay.
Dr. Sam?
Yes?
Dr. Sam, you also can combine bilingual with Malayu.
Yeah,
so
sometimes the constraint, if I speak Malayu, they also cannot understand my Malay. Sometimes
okay.
Okay, it's okay. I mean, we can speak. I hope that you can understand Melayu as well, because I can, understand Bahasa Indonesia as well. Okay. This is the outline of the presentation. Basically, of course, before we talk about revenue and also expenditure of a country, we should know why we learned public economics, or perhaps some people call it public finance. Yeah. So I will go through the introduction, and then the sources of a revenue, that would be taxes and also non-taxes revenue, and also government expenditure. Where does the revenue go? Yeah. So this is, I hope that you can still remember the definition or why you study public economics. Okay, public economics is about economics of public sector, the study of government policy covering the issues of efficiency and also equity. Okay, perhaps in this lecture, we focus on the sources of revenue, the sources of revenue and also the expenditure. But actually, public economics also covers resource allocation to address market failure. Yeah, if you learn, I don't know whether you remember about market failure, things like perhaps you learned about issues of public goods, yeah, externality, What else? A monopoly, asymmetry information. So we need government to involve to correct market failure. Yeah, because if there's no government, market cannot, be efficient without the intervention of the government because of these market failures. And also, we learn public economics because we want to understand income distribution of a country. Yeah, as a means the role of taxes, cukai, transfer programs. Yeah, transfer programs. It can be a cash transfer, bantuan keuangan, or in-kind transfer, bantuan dalam bentuk barangan. Yeah, and social policies that can reduce income inequality and also poverty. Okay, without government interventions, it's very, very difficult for the market itself to reduce income inequality. That is why we need a role of government to intervene to reduce this inequality in income and also to reduce poverty. Yeah. And also, why we learn public economics is because to stabilize macroeconomics. For example, during recession, we need government intervention. For example, during recession, government can increase government expenditure to stimulate market. Okay, and during high unemployment, during recession, high employment, that is why government increase government expenditure to create job, for example. And then that's basically the definition, the broad definition of public economics. And why do we study public economics? There are many things, many reasons why we study public economics, because we are affected by government decision to become an informed voters, to become an informed citizens. You should know, you should have a basic understanding of public economics, not just economics student. It can be general population as well to have this understanding. So we pay tax. Maybe you haven't paid tax yet because you're students, but once you get job, you're going to pay tax. So it is important for you to understand taxes. Yeah, government, why government tax you, and then where does the money go? Yeah, for what expenditure? So this is important. And then public economy is to improve welfare as a whole for the people. It's about a good government, and then public policies affect millions of people. So perhaps Indonesian population is much more than the population of Malaysia. Regardless how many population a country has, the knowledge of public economics is still important. So today, I would like to narrow my scope on the taxation side of public economics. Yeah, we have many other things like distribution, transfer, income transfer, and policies. So for today, I would like to share with you the taxes. Yeah, the taxes of public finance. A narrow scope of public sector economics is the study of government activities, which include taxation and also spending, to achieve a specific objective. So, as you already know the budget of Indonesia, so today I will share with you for Malaysia case. Okay, I think perhaps you have the same skeleton structure as Malaysia. So for taxes, we have, of course, direct taxes and also indirect taxes. Yeah, the revenue, the big chunk of revenue comes from taxes. Okay, revenue is defined as tax revenue is a revenue received from taxes on goods and services, social security fees, payroll taxes, tax on ownership and movement of property, and other taxes. Okay, we use taxes to achieve specific objective. Yeah, the taxes, the rate can be changed according to specific objective. For example, if you want to say increase the welfare of certain group of certain population, so you decrease the income tax rate of that population, or you want to reduce income inequality. So you can play with the tax rate. Yeah? Total tax revenue as a percentage of GDP is the government share of country's output received by taxes. It can be seen as one indicator of the government influence over the economy's finances. Okay, so in Malaysia, we have direct taxes, which is, of course, the most popular one is individual income tax. And then we have corporate tax ataupun cukai perniagaan, cukai korporat, real property gain tax from if you have property, for example, you want to sell your property, you get revenue from selling that property or keuntungan, then keuntungan itu akan dicukai. Contohnya, kita ada tanah, kita jual tanah kita dapat untung. Untung itu dikenakan cukai. Ya, stamp duty, petroleum income tax. And then another form of taxes are indirect taxes. These taxes can be collected via third party. Import duties, export duties, excise duties for alcohol and cigarettes, sales tax, service tax, GST is a consumption tax, good and services tax. We have that. We had that for Malaysia, but it has been abolished and then it replaced with SST. Okay. If you have any question, you can just ask me, yeah? Okay, I just want to show you because this is the most popular taxes in Malaysia. This is personal income tax in Malaysia. Okay, in Malaysia, we use progressive income tax, meaning that the more income you have, the higher the tax is, yeah? For example, if your annual income is 20,000, the maximum tax rate you're going to pay is only 1%. Okay. But if your annual income is, say, at category G, 100,000 and more, 100,000 and more, but below 250,000 ringgit Malaysia, your maximum income tax rate would be 24%. This is in 2021 because we have revised our rate recently. On the right-hand side is the rate, the new rate for 2022. But it's not that, say you have 1,020 ringgit. It's not that the whole 100,020 ringgit subject to 24%. It follows this category, you know, like if, for example, you have 100,020 ringgit on the first 100,000, you will be charged all this rate, you know, but they calculated for you already. It's going to be 10,700, and then the remaining only you'll be charged 24%. Okay, it's like that. So the more income you have, the higher this rate. Okay, so this is the rate that has been revised, basically because Malaysia has specific objective that they want to increase the tax rate for the high income people. So for the higher income bracket, the tax has been revised. For example, this bracket, 100,001 to 250,000, it been increased from 24% to 25%, and then the remaining, yeah, up to more than 2 millions, or 2 millions is the same, 30%, 1 million. So it's going to be the maximum tax rate, income tax rate is 28%. That is our income tax. Okay, perhaps later you can share with me for Indonesia, is it progressive or is it just a flat rate? Okay, next. Okay, another direct taxes for Malaysia which contribute to our income is corporate tax, cukai daripada perniagaan. Ya, cukai daripada perniagaan, it depends on your taxable income as well. The first 500,000 would be around 20%. Okay, in 2019 it's 17%. Okay, but more than that, you'll be taxed. The company will bear tax burden of 24%. But this is in 2019. But if the company is big, it would be like 24% from the income. Okay. So I do not know whether in Indonesia you have real property gain tax. We have this because we don't want people to buy property and sell in short period of time, because they want, you know, to get instant profit. So that is why we tax the gain tax from selling property. But if you have the property for more than 6 years, then there's no tax. But if less than that, you want to sell in the next year, you have to bear the tax from the profit. So the rate would be 30% if it's less than 3 years, and so on. Yeah, if it's it depends on the time of you possess the asset. Okay. So we move, the one is just the example of direct taxes. Okay, direct taxes. This is the example of indirect taxes that we have. Perhaps in Indonesia, you have goods and services tax. We have GST before, but it was suspended on 1st June 2018. And then from September 2018, we have sales and service tax. Sales and service tax meaning the consumer need to pay the tax when they purchase goods and services. Yeah, beli barang di supermarket, beli perkhidmatan, then we have to pay these taxes. And then the rate varies according to the product. Yeah, and we have like 5%. Tax rate, 6%, and also 10%, depends on the product. Okay, so basic food stuff, you know, construction materials, communications, and everything, that is only 5%. But there are other things that are not so, not to say not so important, but not so crucial. So perhaps the rate is 10%, but actually the rate can be changed over time. I mean, it depends on the situation, but this is the standard rate now for sales and service tax in Malaysia. So compared to other countries, I think other countries has higher rate. Yeah, they have a GST. Some countries has 15%, 20% of goods and services tax. Besides taxes, the government also gets the revenue from other sources. It's non-tax revenue, we call it non-tax revenue. For example, that we collect fees from licenses and permits, okay? Fees for specific services, proceed from sale or government assets, rental of government property. Okay, these are the things that are not categorized as taxes, but it gives revenue to the government. Ya, kita ada cukai kenderaan, contohnya, ya, cukai kenderaan ataupun perniagaan memerlukan lesen. Okay, itu adalah hasil cukai kepada kerajaan. However, the tax from the income from non-tax revenue is relatively low as compared to taxes. Yeah, but it's constant. It's constant. Okay, kan? In fact, kita ada saman. Ya, speed trap ada saman. Saman itu pun adalah hasil kepada kerajaan, revenue kepada kerajaan. Okay, then this, when I say kerajaan, it can be a central government and also state government. There are some revenue that belongs to the central government and also state government, but most of it is central government, because state government, it depends on say licenses and permits untuk perniagaan. Okay, it can be under state government as well, or local government. It can be local government as well. Okay, these are to give you some insight of our revenues. between 2019 and also up to 2021. Between 2019 up to 2021, you can see the component. I hope you can read this one. Is in Bahasa Melayu, in Bahasa Malaysia. So we have komponen hasil cukai dan hasil bukan cukai. As I said earlier, hasil cukai contributes to the most significant number of revenue in Malaysia. You can see that is 180,000 millions for hasil cukai. Look at the 2019, whereas for hasil bukan cukai is only 83,000 for 849 million. Okay, under hasil cukai we have corporate income tax, CITA. It shows it has the highest proportion, corporate income tax, and then we have individual taxes, individual income tax, and then we have PITA is a petroleum income tax. Petroleum income tax also contributes to 3.5% in 2000. Bahagian dia adalah in 2019 is 7.9% for PITA, but for corporate tax is 24%, individual tax is 18%. Okay, cukai tak langsung, like I said earlier, SST, sales and service tax, you can see the trend is more or less the same. The trend is more or less the same. You can see the trend for when we shift from GST to SST, there were some drops there. But if SST, you compare with SST, the trend, the contribution, the proportion in terms of proportion is almost similar. And then we have hasil bukan cukai like lesen and permit, and also pendapatan pelaburan. Okay, you can see that. Okay, you can see it in terms of graph there. You can see there that cukai langsung contributes to the highest proportion. Actually, the petroleum is also under hasil cukai langsung. But since the number is kind of significant, dia diletak berasingan. Okay, tapi secara keseluruhannya cukai langsung memberi hasil yang tinggi kepada kerajaan berbanding dengan cukai tidak langsung dan juga hasil bukan cukai. Okay. Okay. Just now we talk about revenue. So after revenue, we go to expenditure, government expenditure. How much government spent to rule the country? So the government expenditure can be divided into two main things, operating expenditure and also development expenditure. Government expenditure, operating expenditure, and development expenditure. So you can see here, what is operating expenditure? Operating expenditure is the expenditure experienced by government to pay the cost of managing and administering the country. If you can see here, from 2019 to 2021 here, the most chunk go to emolument. Emolument ni maksudnya pembayaran gaji pekerja di sektor awam. Sektor awam termasuk gaji guru, gaji askar, gaji semua penjawat awam yang bekerja di public sector. So emolument has the big chunk of it. You can see in 2019, it contributes to 30% of the expenditure, and other expenditure has like persaraan, pension, bayaran khidmat hutang dan seterusnya. So if you understand about public finance or public economics, you will understand that emolument has the high impact on government expenditure. Okay, adakah patut kerajaan mengambil lebih banyak pekerja di perkhidmatan awam contohnya? That can give you some insight. Or if you were to think about aging population, aging population dan peningkatan umur persaraan dan juga dan sebagainya. Bila kita ada banyak pekerja di sektor awam, makin banyak pesara di sektor awam, so akan impact kepada bayaran persaraan juga. So this thing you should have, you can help you to have some ideas on operating expenditure. And then other thing, this is a very nice thing to think about, because if you learn about budget, government budget, you always learn about this thing. You always want to have some ideas how much is spent on pengangkutan, on transportation, how much is spent on environment, health, housing. So these are the development expenditure between 2019 to 2021. What is development expenditure? Is the expenditure incurred by the government for national development. Okay, for example, the cost of construction of school, housing, hospitals. Okay, we want to build more public schools and more public hospitals that incur costs. That is under development expenditure. And then why government development expenditure is development? Why development expenditure is important? Because it plays important role in the country's economic growth. We have to spend for education. We have to spend for hospitals, and we have to spend for our social security. This is all for our country's economic growth. So annual budget will be allocated for development purposes as to ensure economic growth and people's welfare. So now it relates back to economic growth and also welfare. It's interrelated, the growth, economic growth, and also people's welfare. So that is why the study of public economics is very important, not just for economic side of it, it's for everything. It's for the government, for the people, for the society as a whole. So this is just to give you some insight of the government expenditure as in the table just now. This is in the graph form. You can see that the operating expenditure is higher than the development expenditure, because we want to operate the country, it requires lots of expenditure. That is why managing operating expenditure and government expenditure is very crucial for a government. Without, we have to manage the money because it comes from taxes from the people, and then how the government manage must be with a very high integrity. That is why, as informed voters, we want to know where does our contribution go. So that is why this is, of course, this is where it goes, but the manager of the finance in the ministries, they need to work with a very high integrity in managing the finances of a country. So you can see the total expenditure there. Is a combination of operating and also development expenditure. And then you can see here the expenditure as compared to the tax revenue. You see there, it seems that the expenditure is more than the revenue. It happens, it's not that we have revenue, you spend, but your expenditure must be below your tax revenue. That is why governments borrow. That is why we call it deficit financing. The terms you may learn later, deficit finance. Why? It seems here you can see that our expenditure in Malaysian case, the expenditure is higher than the revenue generated. Okay, if you want to see, this is the budget example. Okay, in Indonesia, I would like to know how they present the budget, but this is a Malaysian budget that been presented for budget 2022. Okay, I think we have the latest budget 2023 presented last year for budget 2023. My slide is kind of outdated a bit, but this is just to show you how we allocate our revenue for specific sectors. Yeah, for example, this is the highlight. This is the highlight. On the left hand side, this is for education. Okay, for education, budget given for education sector. Okay, our Malaysia allocated very high budget for education. I think the highest budget allocated for education. So for example, we allocated for early schooling assistant. Yeah, so setiap kali buka sekolah, pelajar-pelajar akan mendapat bantuan RM150, regardless of their household income. Everyone gets it. Yeah, and then we have school repair and maintenance. Yeah, that is allocated 1 billion. Yeah, billion is a lot to repair schools and maintain schools sebab sekolah yang dah lama, and then juga sekolah-sekolah agama, sekolah-sekolah tahfiz diberi bantuan sebanyak 140 million. Okey, kita juga memberi bantuan kepada sekolah-sekolah vernacular seperti sekolah Chinese dan juga sekolah Tamil sebanyak 120 million. And also we allocated budget to improve schools or to support projects in Sabah and Sarawak. Is Malaysia. In Sabah and Sarawak, we have in Malaysia divided into two: Peninsula Malaysia and Borneo, Sabah and Sarawak. So generally, school in Sabah and Sarawak, because of the demography and also because of the geography, the quality or condition of the schools there comparatively they are more poor quality than the peninsula. So we allocated this budget to improve the situation of the schools. And then what else? We allocated also for supplemental food school milk program. So to ensure that people from low income family gets their daily nutritional requirements. Yeah, this is because we want the students to have a proper nutrition. So school milk is one of the program for so long. Since I was small, we get susu sekolah. Maksudnya setiap pelajar akan menerima ada 6 kotak susu seminggu tu. Every week they get it. And then teaching aid for the teachers, and because after the pandemic, they need to use more facilities that is not the same as previously before the pandemic, so the government allocated some budget for this. And then other sector like public transport, we also allocated budget for our public transport. Okay, and then to improve rural infrastructure as well. Yeah, we have to improve rural electric supply and the infrastructure in rural Sabah rural areas, and also things got to do with rural facilities, because our aim is to reduce inequality in terms of income and also in terms of facilities, so that even though those are from rural areas can have good roads, good water supply, they have electricity. So government consistently contributes certain budget for this development. Okay, these are some example only, because we have, if I were to show, there are many things, to improve health facilities, healthcare, and then got to do with environment, tourism. There are so many things. So these are the example only. And then I just try to put this into perspective that I take one developed country to compare with Malaysia. Okay, this is the example from the United Kingdom. Okay, source of revenue and then the expenditure. So perhaps later you can understand about Indonesia. You already learned about Indonesia, so you can see the similarities and also the differences. Okay, if you see in the United Kingdom, in the UK, the is in billion, yeah, and the numbers there is in billion. So in terms of revenues, the biggest chunk comes from income tax, 208 billions, Great Britain, British pound, 208 billion pound, and then followed by value-added tax, and then they have other taxes, council tax, excise duty, corporate tax. Corporate tax is only 58 billion pound, and then the revenue also from national insurance contributions. Okay, in the UK, the people has to contribute for national insurance. So that is contribute to 150 billion British pound, yeah, pound sterling. Okay, on the right hand side you can see most of the revenue goes to social protection. Yeah? They have very high social protection scheme. Yeah, social protection 285 billion, followed by health and education. In Malaysia, I think the most goes to education. Education, but in the UK is social protection, 285 billion. So other things like defense, personal social services, agriculture, So I think that is it about the tax and the expenditure. Malaysian case, yeah, that is overview. Because if you use when you learn public economics in Malaysia, we normally use textbook from the UK or the United States. Okay, normally the first few chapter, the first pages, they give some overview of the situation of revenue and also expenditure of their countries, of course in the US and also in the UK. So it would be good if we learn for our country, we start off with the insight of our country and then compare with other countries, preferably the country with the same level as our country and also the developed countries, so that we know for developed countries, there are more to social protection already. Yeah. And then as a conclusion, again, I would like to emphasize or stress that it is very, very important for us to become an informed citizens, to become an informed voters, to study public economics, and specifically public finance that studies about taxes and also expenditure, government expenditure, because the proper management of public finance ensures the growth of the country. It encourages investment through various policies and packages. Okay, if we have a very good management of a country, it will attract investors to come to our country. Yeah, if we are very systematic country, we can manage our revenue properly, when we can give our citizens what they need. So of course it will attract investment. Yeah, public finance ensure economic growth by influencing consumption rates, saving, and physical and human capital investment. So appropriate allocation of government expenditure is essential to achieve economic stability and increase social well-being of the people. I think that's all from me. That is a very short lecture from me, because I think if you have something to share with me in terms of the situation in Indonesia, I would love to listen to your insight as well. Yeah, because I think it's good if we can exchange views rather than just a one-way lecture from me. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Susilo. I think that's all from me. Let me just wait. I have to unshare the things.
Okay, Dr. Zaifa, thank you very much for your sharing about the revenue state of Malaysia. Okay, students, do you have any questions about this?
Or maybe you have, if no question, you can have like sharing, I mean, give, any insight, not just necessarily questions.
Yeah, maybe you can sharing about the Indonesian state budget. Most of you have present about it, right? So you can share.
Let the woman speak.
No. Hello, guys.
Dr. Susilo, are they the first degree student, undergraduate?
Yeah, undergraduate students. Now in the second year.
Second year.
Yeah, second
So
year.
now they have physical classes or still online?
Physical classes.
Okay, sure.
Maybe while they prepare for the question or sharing, I'm interested with the income tax in Malaysia, Doctor. So it's quite different from Indonesia, I think. The system is almost the same, like progressive.
Okay.
But the range is quite different, because you have many range from 1%, 0% until 30%, right? But in Indonesia, I think we only have like 0, 5, and then from 5 directly to 15, then 15 to 20 or 25. So we jump. Then yeah, it counts like if we have increase the income a little bit, we got tax 15% directly. So and then after that 25, something like that. Let me see. But in Malaysia, I think they have more variation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, it has variation, but it doesn't like jump. Like for example, when you reach the threshold, it doesn't jump, say from 5 to 10, but just the portion that is exceed the limit. The previous one subject to the previous limit, the previous rate.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Same, eh? But
Same,
we have many rates. We have many rates that we cannot remember. We just like terima saja.
But the percentage in Indonesia is we don't have like, I think we don't have like 1%, 2%, 3%, 8%. So if I can share it to you, where is it?
Okay.
The way they calculate is the same. The way they calculate. Can you see my screen, Doctor?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you can see this is start from 5%, then 15%, 25%, 30%, and 35%.
We have like 1, 3, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That's why I said jump a lot, right? However,
Mm.
the way they calculate is the same. For example, this is the basic one. 60 million is around what? I don't know. Wait. 1 ringgit, how much rupiah right now?
3,000,
3,000.
around that.
3,000. It's been around 20,000 ringgit. Yeah,
5%.
yeah. Below 20,000, they will not
Tax.
give you tax, but from 20,000, they charge you 5%. Okay. Then if you, for example, have income, how much? 40,000 ringgit. So 40,000, 40,000 ringgit. So they will reduce first 40,000 with 20,000.
Yes, yes. And then remaining 20,000 will be subject to 15%, right?
Yeah, 20,000 subject to 5 and another 20,000
yes,
subject to 15.
15.
So
Yeah, similar.
the way they calculate is the same.
Yeah, I think it is the same. And then do you have many exemption or deduction before you calculate your taxable income?
Yeah. Like how many children do you have, for example, and then spouse, for example, you married or not, something like that.
But in Malaysia, we have many deduction.
Oh, really?
It depends on the economic situation. It depends when the government announced the budget to give certain deduction or exemption. And then to achieve certain objective, then we have that, the new one. For example, like buying handphone or computer, sports equipment. So for
they
example,
will reduce it.
pardon?
They will reduce it if you buy this kind of things.
Means you got you can reduce the taxable income, your taxable income. So for example, in at one time you want to increase tourism sector after the pandemic. So we can use, you know, if you go to, you stay in the hotel, you know, you go for vacation under certain company, so you can get exemption. So that I want to, you know, to stimulate the growth of tourism sector. So it depends on the budget, depends on what the country wants. Then it can, you know, use that for exemption or deduction in tax, personal income tax.
How about, for example, installment?
Installment for no.
For house, for car?
No.
They didn't reduce the tax?
No.
Okay.
You have that in Indonesia?
No.
we don't have that either. Even last time we have exemption. I mean, we can deduct if you spend for your parents, elderlies. You can get some deduction for that as well. But now they remove that. They use if you spend for your elderlies, for your parents, for medical, then we can ask for deduction from taxable income. From income.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
How about your consumption tax? Do you have GST?
What GSV?
Consumption tax. When you buy
Things,
stuff,
Stuff.
buy
Okay. We have
barang-barang,
value added.
barangan.
We
Yeah,
have
VAT.
value added tax.
Yeah,
Yeah, VAT.
VAT. Okay. We
Yeah,
have
we
that
have
kind of
VAT.
VAT previously. We call it GST that used the concept of VAT, but it was abolished. Then we use
Oh,
our FST does not use VAT principle. It's
and then what,
just,
you use GST.
yeah, previously we have GST that use the VAT principle, like value added, yeah. But now we don't have that. We have a sales and service tax only. Means the tax been imposed at the first, the bukan pengeluar, pengilang, something like that. It's not like, like every chain. It's not that anymore. We don't have VAT. We don't have that anymore.
So when you buy stuff, you will not pay tax.
The price is already reflects the tax
Include.
paid in the first stage. The
In
first
the first
stage,
stage.
the first supply chain, this first one already paid the tax,
Distributor.
and then it being reflect through the higher price, and then that's it.
Okay.
So it's different system.
Yeah. We still use the value added tax, and also the tax about the land. Oh, what do you call it?
The what?
When you sell the property or land, then they
Okay.
give you
Property gain tax.
yeah, property gain tax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in here we also have this kind of tax,
Mm-hmm.
property tax. So when you buy or you sell the property, both of seller and buyer will get the tax, will charge by the tax. But the interesting is in your presentations, if someone hold the land or property more than 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they will not charge by tax, right?
Yeah, because it's just like short term. We don't want you to like play with the system, the market. Buy and sell. So that's why the tax is just to apart from getting revenue, is to control behavior as well.
But in here, I think even after you own it more than 10 years, they will charge you.
Okay.
Now even the, how to say, warisan. Waris. They also charge the tax.
It follows like what we call it, cukai bequest. Cukai kadang-kadang kita dicukai kerana mewarisi harta, kan? Kita mewarisi harta, macam di England, if you mewarisi harta tu nak dipindahkan nama kepada you have to pay certain tax.
Malaysia also the same.
Malaysia we don't have that. Last time we have, like long time ago, but I don't think now we have that anymore. Cukai pusaka, something like that.
Cukai pusaka.
You mewarisi. That is why in the UK, we have like many abandoned properties, like large churches, kan, gereja, because mereka tak nak mewarisi, because they have to pay like very high tax to mewarisi, and yet it's not productive. The things is not productive, so that is why it's abandoned. Okay.
For the students, do you have any questions? You want to sharing something?
The students are very shy. Similar like in Malaysia also, very shy. Camera shy.
No, because sometimes if they open their camera together, the connection will be down.
Yeah. exactly. No, you don't have to open the camera. You can ask me in Bahasa Indonesia as well. I can understand. If I can't, Dr. Susilo can translate me.
Yang
Maybe
mau
they're afraid
bertanya
to speak
dalam
English.
bahasa Indonesia juga boleh. Yang mau bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia juga boleh, silakan.
Ya, silakan. Or maybe my presentation is very clear until they don't need to ask anything. But that's okay, Dr. Susilo. Students are sometimes like that. They're very shy.
Okay. Okay, I think we can end this meeting. Thank you very much for your presentation, for your time, for your valuable presentations, Dr. Zaifah Samsudin. I hope to collaborate with you for the next agenda. And once again, thank you for your sharing. Let's close our meeting by reciting Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. And then thank you for the students for coming. Then I will close this session by Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.